15 times football fans went too far. Well, it's like a barbecue gone wrong. Too much heat, and suddenly you're left with charred sausages and a burnt-down shed. Except in football, it's million-dollar contracts and broken stadium seats. Number 16. The same was witnessed in the Battle of Turin on May 2, 1985. How did a heated match escalate into one of the darkest days in football history? The fierce rivalry between Juventus and Torino reached its boiling point on that fateful day in 1985, which resulted in the tragedy of Derby. The stadium was a powder keg of emotions, with fans from both sides baying for blood. As the match progressed, violent clashes erupted, leading to a stampede that claimed the lives of 39 innocent supporters. The Battle of Turin serves as a haunting reminder of the consequences when football becomes a battlefield. Number 15. Well, that was one way to ruin a celebration of European football. Thanks, Liverpool fans, for turning the UEFA Champions League final into a tragedy. What a hooliganistic achievement! The UEFA Champions League final on May 29, 1985, between Liverpool and Juventus was supposed to be a celebration of European football, but it turned into a European tragedy. However, the actions of a group of Liverpool fans turned it into a wave of hooliganism. Liverpool supporters stormed the opposition section, causing a wall to collapse and resulting in the deaths of 39 Juventus fans. The Heysel Stadium disaster shocked the football world and led to a widespread crackdown on hooliganism. Number 14. Hold on, guys. Fans go way overboard from players' games to racist-like acts. Well, how can a sport that promotes unity and teamwork tolerate acts of racism? When prejudice overshadows the spirit of the game, it leaves only tragedies. Racism has plagued football for decades, tarnishing the sport's image and alienating players and fans alike. From vile chants to discriminatory gestures, incidents of racism in the stands have cast a dark shadow over the game. Whether it's racial abuse directed at players or discriminatory banners unfurled in the stands, these instances serve as a stark reminder that football still has a long way to go in eradicating prejudice. Number 13. If racism shown by fans felt too much for you, well, next is the incident in which fans made the stadium a whole death trap. Let's see how a routine football match turned into a devastating disaster. It was actually the tragedy of Hillsborough on April 15, 1989, during the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest, which happened due to a failure of safety. The day was meant to be filled with excitement and competition. However, due to a series of catastrophic failures in crowd management and stadium safety, 96 Liverpool supporters lost their lives in a fatal crash at Hillsborough Stadium. The tragedy exposed the dire need for improved safety measures in football stadiums and led to significant changes in crowd control protocols. Number 12. Let me enlighten you guys. Fans have gone overboard with violence in Europe, but do you know the dark side of rivalries that have happened in South America? How do rivalries in South American football become breeding grounds for violence? South America is known for its intense football rivalries, where passion runs high and emotions are volatile. When fans get too emotionally attached to games, football rivalries spill over into chaos. However, some matches have descended into scenes of chaos and bloodshed. From organized brawls between hooligan factions to brutal attacks on opposing fans, the violence that plagues certain South American matches is a grim reminder that fans, if left uncontrolled, can be way too much. Number 11. It looks like football matches have long been celebrated in the streets widely. But when big competitions like FIFA happen, supporters get into a frenzy. So what happens when a football match turns into a full-blown street fight? On June 2, 1962, a brutal clash happened when football became a battleground for vengeance. The 1962 FIFA World Cup witnessed one of the most violent matches in history. In a Group 2 encounter between Chile and Italy, tensions escalated from the opening whistle. Players engaged in brutal tackles, punches, and kicks, leading to several injuries. The match became a chaotic brawl, with the referee struggling to maintain control. The Battle of Santiago highlighted the danger of unchecked aggression and remains etched in football folklore. Number 10. What happened when a match became a scene of terror and tragedy in Egypt? How did a football match turn into a horrifying massacre? In a league match between Al Masry and Al Ahly in Port Said, Egypt, a wave of violence erupted in the stands and on their pitch. Thousands of Al Masry supporters stormed the field armed with weapons, attacking Al Ahly players and fans. The chaotic scenes resulted in the deaths of 72 people and left hundreds injured. The Port Said tragedy in 2012 shook Egyptian football to its core, leading to widespread outrage and calls for better security measures. Number 9. If that was happening in Egypt, the football fans taking their love for the game went to extreme levels in the 2006 World Cup. How did a World Cup match become a battleground between rival fans? The FIFA World Cup clash between Germany and the Netherlands in Nuremberg was marred by violent clashes between hooligans from both nations. The match saw flares being thrown onto the pitch, rioting in the stands, and clashes with the police. The scenes of chaos and destruction tarnished the reputation of the tournament and emphasized the need for more robust measures to prevent such incidents. Number 8. Fans get extremist in their feelings, leading to players and managers getting mad for their intrusion. But this one took it too far. How did a fan streaking turn a moment of celebration into a shocking incident that left managers fuming? In the match between Liverpool and Manchester United, a man ran into the stadium. On the pitch, the fan ran and drifted to celebrate the moment with the players after the 7-0. But he slipped and hit one of the players. The manager, Klopp, wasn't much pleased with the incident. The fan had injured his main player, Andy Robertson. In fact, the manager got so angry that he swore at him and even shouted at him as he was dragged away by the guards and hadn't subscribed to our channel. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to my channel now and become a Fair Play supporter. Ironically, Manchester still won the match after a few minutes with this score. Number 7. It looks like the fans were just as excited to get a piece of the player as they were about the victory. Talk about sharing the love. I guess Messi's victory dance was a little too infectious. It spread to the stands and got out of control. When Messi, along with his team, was celebrating in Buenos Aires after winning the World Cup 2023 for the very first time in 36 years for Argentina, 4,000 people came onto the streets. Still, being the world stars of Argentina, they were not considered safe on the streets anymore. So the police brought in 5 choppers and took the players away safely. No one was injured, but this number of fans wasn't the safest option, so it was the right decision indeed. Even if you believe that this fan was crazy in his love for the team, wait till it gets crazier. After seeing his favorite football player, this fan was so much in a trance that he didn't even care about what was around him. How did an act of passionate devotion turn into a painful reminder of dashed hopes and misplaced certainty? The little boy ended up in the hospital for his love for Salah. Now, come on, we all know that Salah is one of the greatest players that has been blessed in Egyptian football. Many people have fallen in love with Liverpool for this Egyptian superstar. He is indeed the best African player. So when the 11-year-old Lewis saw his car, he ran in a frenzy and hit the lamppost with his nose. But luckily for him, Salah ended up visiting him in person, finally. Number 4. Now, if you thought this was frantic behavior from the fans, then the Moroccan celebration in Amsterdam is going to blow your mind, making it number 4 on our list. This celebration resulted in $50,000 in damages. Let me enlighten you. How did the unexpected turn of events during the match ignite such a fervent and unruly response from the Moroccan fans? In the World Cup 2022, when Morocco was against Belgium in the group stage, everyone thought Belgium would have an easy win in the next stage. But when the odds went against them, the Moroccan fans set scooters and cars on fire in their excitement. Residents felt as if the roads had turned into war zones. Number 3. It looks like Vitaly's girlfriend really let loose. Or should we say, let everything else loose in that streaking incident. Clearly, she was determined to leave a lasting impression on the city and its residents. And boy, did she succeed. He got her to invade the Champions League final. She followed her boyfriend's footsteps and entered the pitch wearing a swimsuit and a pair of trainers. Kinsey Wolanski had her Instagram followers spike from 300,000 followers in 2019 to 3.2 million followers. You might think of it as stupid, but instead, police took photos with her, and she ended up on every article's main page. It was the most non-entertaining match in football history until Kinsey went in. Number 2. Though this gained a positive light in the mainstream media, the number 2 on our list turned out to be the one that was probably the most hated fan incident for everyone in Everton history. This incident turned into a disturbing and widely condemned spectacle that tarnished Everton's history. In the Premier League match between Toffee and Newcastle, the 21-year-old Louis McKechnie made the strangest disruption ever. He used a metal zip tie to attach himself to the goalpost when the second half started. He vlogged the whole thing to preach to the UK government to stop using oil. He was fined £550, 6 weeks of imprisonment, and 3 years ban from attending any football matches. Number 1. Finally, what ended up on number 1 was the most extreme thing that I never ever want fans to do again. This is about the Euro 2020, when England made it into the finals after losing to Italy. Can you even imagine how the euphoria of England's journey in Euro 2020 devolved into a nightmarish display of violence, racism, and a complete disregard for the spirit of the game? The fans got crazy in the celebrations over the semi-finals on the streets. But when they lost in the final, some fans expressed their despair by replicating the 2005 Green Street Hooligan film into reality. This ended up in a combination of hooligans, street fights, and tension, along with racist attacks on the players that lost penalties: Marcus Rashford, Osaka, and Jadon. This was all seen in return for the anger and waves of wrath inflicted by the national team. These incidents remind us that the line between passion and aggression can sometimes blur, resulting in devastating consequences. So that was all about football fans. But if you want to know more about the story behind Ronaldo phenomenon, then check out this one. Or if you're curious about who among the football players has the most expensive car fleet, go ahead and click right here.